What if everything you've ever believed about ancient Greece, its heroes, its glory, its wisdom, was just a carefully sculpted illusion, a marble facade hiding centuries of forgotten blood, buried truths, and echoes too dark to remember? Before Athens dreamed of democracy, there was Crete, a place ruled not by kings or warriors, but by priestesses and sacred dances. A matriarchal world blooming with color and devotion, now crumbled beneath the sands of forgotten faith. And then came fire, not myth, not metaphor, but flame and stone from Santorini's wrath. The sky turned to ash, the gods were silent, and what was once sacred became scorched, swallowed whole by sea and time. Beneath layers of ocean and soot lie the bones of a world we now call myth. Atlantis wasn't a fantasy, it was memory, drowned by waves, scorched by flame, and erased by history's need to forget. From that ash rose warriors clad in bronze. The Mycenaeans did not pray, they conquered. Their faces hidden behind gold death masks, their gods more war than wisdom. Peace died, and conquest was crowned. And then, 1,000 ships set sail, not for love, but power. Behind every romantic tale of Troy was greed, strategy, and death. Myths softened what real history could never forgive. Homer's blind eyes saw deeper than most. His songs weren't just epic tales, they were warnings, hidden in verse. He spun the truth into poetry, disguising pain with beauty so it wouldn't be forgotten or feared. Clay and fire told the stories words couldn't. Black figure pottery showed gods, yes, but also brutality, hunger, and daily grief. These weren't decorations. They were silent witnesses, trapped in glaze and shadow. Democracy, that cherished ideal, began in fear, not freedom. Laws etched in stone, punishments cruel, names carved forever in marble. The power of the people was a leash wrapped in rhetoric. To speak wrongly was to vanish. Ostracism wasn't just social, it was political death. A name cast in stone could mean exile, shame, or silence. Democracy had its gods, and its sacrifices. Philosophy questioned everything, and Athens answered with poison. Socrates sipped hemlock, not as punishment, but as precedent. Thought itself became dangerous, and death was the price of asking. Why? Sparta did not raise children, it forged soldiers. From birth, the weak were discarded, and the strong trained in shadow. Mothers watched, not with pride, but with prayer, that their sons would die well. The Persians came, not as monsters, but as kings. Greece didn't stand as one, but fractured, desperate, and proud. The storm rolled in, and the gods chose. No side. Marathon. 10,000 souls clashed in silence and savagery. The ground drank their blood so Athens could breathe. One battle, one heartbeat, and the West was born. Trembling in Delphi, even kings bowed. Oracles spoke in riddles that ruled nations. Flames flickered, smoke danced, and from below the earth, destiny whispered through madness and mystery. At Salamis, ships burned and men drowned, not for honor, but for survival. Strategy trumped strength. Fire ruled the sea, and for a moment, intellect beat empire. The Parthenon rose, not just as a temple, but a treasury. Behind its beauty was control, wealth, and tribute disguised as worship. Marble masks greed better than any king ever could. Philosophers sipped wine beside slaves. Enlightenment bloomed from oppression. Athens taught the world to think, but forgot to free the hands that built its schools. Brother turned against brother. The Peloponnesian War shattered what pride had built. Cities fell, alliances crumbled. Greatness became burden, and Greece cracked beneath its own shadow. Boy with lion's eyes was tutored by a man of questions. Aristotle gave Alexander the tools not just to conquer, but to reshape the world through fire and philosophy. At Troy's ruins, Alexander wept. At Persepolis, he burned. In myth, he found mirrors. In conquest, he found purpose. His sword rewrote what books dared not. Alexander did not just conquer with the sword, He seduced with culture. He married Persian royalty, wore Eastern dress, and made enemies sit at the same table. In love and law, he became a bridge between worlds no one else could hold together. From Greece, his empire stretched like a myth too big to survive. He died without an heir. Only maps remained, fading in wind and sand. His legacy, a legend scattered in ruins and a silence no one ever filled. The Library of Alexandria didn't burn once. It burned with every regime, every fear of knowledge. Each scroll lost was a century erased. Truth drowned in flame and politics. And every ash carried a forgotten voice. As Greece dimmed, Rome blazed brighter. But the marble gods of Olympus never left. Statues stood like ghosts, their eyes hollow yet knowing. Though empires fell, their myths clung to stone, whispers of divinity in broken marble. Byzantium rose, wearing Christian robes, but its veins still pulsed with pagan blood. It traded laurel crowns for crosses, myths for miracles. Yet behind every stained glass window, old gods watched, repainted, renamed, but never fully buried. Plato questioned reality. Pythagoras found order in chaos. Aristotle gave reason its first breath. These men didn't just teach, they disturbed the order. In a time of kings, they dared to think freely, and that made them dangerous. Temples lie beneath office buildings. Statues sleep under streets. Starlight glances off ruins no one sees, but listen closely, the stone breathes. What the sun hides, the moon reveals. Secrets etched into the earth by hands long turned to dust. The Parthenon is not just a ruin, it's a scarred memoir. Every cracked column, a story. Every layer of dust, a buried truth. We want history to be clean, but it never was. It's chipped, forgotten, and bleeding beauty. The ancients, the sea wasn't water, it was Poseidon's fury. It crushed cities when angered, fed nations when calm. Waves carried warriors, plagues, and dreams. Even now, tides still echo with myth, as if the gods still breathe beneath. Empires rise, not just on power, but on trade routes, taxes, and blood. Every gold coin was once a soldier's breath, a slave's cry. Wealth was carved into spears, and stamped onto currency. Currency that bought silence and obedience. Theater was not entertainment, it was ritual. The stage was a holy ground, where gods wept and men remembered. Plays were not lies, they were mirrors. Tragedy walked in sandals, mourning the world with masks and odes, echoing truth louder than battle cries. To masks, joy and sorrow. But behind both, truth waited. Comedy laughed not to amuse, but to survive. Tragedy did not cry for drama, it warned. The Greeks did not invent theater. They summoned it, as if the world demanded a stage. Not all stories were carved by kings. Some were scratched by merchants, children, and lovers. Graffiti on temple walls, curses, jokes, prayers, remind us, history isn't just dates. It's fingerprints. Still there, still laughing, still human. A warrior's helmet gleams in firelight, but beside him, a child watches. Forgotten by chronicles, remembered only by silence. History counts victories. It rarely counts those sacrificed to write them. Yet they remain beneath the medals and myths. The battlefield is silent now, but under every stone lies grief, bones, betrayal, soil soaked in debt. Every empire leaves behind its dead and its lies. You walk on layers of sorrow. You breathe air once filled with war cries. Museums display the pretty fragments, but the truth lives in the broken pieces. What we see behind glass was once heartbeat, breath, belief. Every crack in a vase is a sentence missing from a story. No one finished, treaties torn, branches broken, yet thoughts lived on. Ink faded, but ideas never died. While swords rusted, philosophies traveled across borders, across centuries. Because peace is fragile, but thought is immortal. The ancients did not just gaze at stars. They mapped meaning onto them. Orion wasn't just a constellation. It was fear, faith, prophecy. They looked up and saw God staring back. And even now, those constellations still whisper. Athens breathes beneath steel and concrete. Beneath Starbucks, temples sleep. Beneath traffic, philosophers still pace. The city isn't gone, it's buried in rhythm. If you pause and listen, you'll hear the agora heartbeat again. You've only scratched the surface. Ruins are not endings, they're invitations. The truth wasn't lost, it's waiting. This is truth buried deep. If this stirred something ancient inside you, a question, a chill, a memory you never lived, then subscribe. Because the stories they buried, we dig up. The silence they built, we break. Truth was never gone, you just stopped looking.